What do you think about when you think about the miracles of God? When I read the Bible, Jesus did a lot of miracles, a lot of healings. He changed lives. In the Old Testament, God did some phenomenal miracles. Parting the Red Sea so people walk on dry ground. the manna that fell from heaven. We could go miracle after miracle, divine intervention. But there's one that stands out. It's like, how in the world did God accomplish this? And for what reason? And when you look at the reason, it's like, really? You went out through all of that trouble for that? Well, let me explain. I'm Pastor Nathan Beam, pastor of the Family Worship Center in Chesterfield, Virginia. I just want to take some time over a series of videos and just share from my life miracles and the power of God that has worked, that I have witnessed. And I thought it was time just to share it with everyone. But I want to start off with this. In the book of Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah himself records a couple of miracles that were just outstanding. But those same miracles or the same accounts are also found in Second Kings and Second Chronicles. But Isaiah writes, and he says that the king Hezekiah is king of the southern nation of Israel, Judah. And the Assyrians have come and have laid siege against Jerusalem. There in Jerusalem, you've had some kings that have not been the greatest. You have many that have followed David and his example, and Hezekiah was one that was a good king, a righteous king. But the Assyrians have laid siege, and they have informed them, they're bragging that no nation has been able to withstand them. No God of any nation has been able to help them. And their God will not be able to do any better. Matter of fact, he even then writes it down, making sure that Hezekiah gets this information, and he sends this letter to Hezekiah. Hezekiah takes the letter and lays it out on the floor, and he lays on the floor beside this letter as if, God, I need you to see this letter. This is important. We're about to perish. And Isaiah sends a message to him that God has answered his prayer and would take care of him. The next morning they wake up and there are 185,000 dead Assyrians scattered around Jerusalem. God delivered. Now, here's what's interesting is the next chapter. Now, this righteous king, Hezekiah, has an illness that is going to lead to death. He's been informed, get your house in order, get everything taken care of because you're going to die. Hezekiah lays in bed, turns his face to the wall, and begins to weep before God. No, God, give me more time. Add to my life. Well, God answers his prayer and adds 15 more years to his life. But in confirming that God would do this, God did something that was just mind-blowing. He sets the sun back 10 degrees. You've heard of sundials. Well, they calculated the hours of the day through some steps and where the shadows landed on those steps, and the steps moved back. So there was less shadow than there was at that moment in the next moment. So somehow, I don't know how, did God stop the rotation of the earth? Did he take and move the earth? Did he do something with the sun? I don't know. But whatever it was, this is phenomenal. This is, how did he do this without destroying the earth, destroying civilizations? The only thing we know is after this, within the first 100 years, most civilizations around the world changed their calendar from 360 days in a year to 365 days in a year. It changed everything. God does miracles. The reason? Not for the world, for Hezekiah. And what's worse is then those 15 years he didn't live righteous before God. He messed around and did evil. What miracles have you experienced? I then have to evaluate the miracles of God in Scripture because I guess I'm just like anybody else. I've always seen them as different levels, intensities, big miracles for big situations. Really, can we get any bigger outside of the creation of the universe than God moving the sun back 10 degrees, adding some time to that day, one of the longest days in the history of mankind, changing the whole calendar as a result? If God can do that, it sounds to me like that adds a whole different meaning, that there's nothing impossible with God. So I want you to listen to some of my stories that I'm going to share. And believe them or not, all I can do is reveal what I've experienced. And am very grateful for what he has done over the years.